And so that brings me to my question. Is there a such thing as a true us that we can totally be around anyone at every time? Like, because even in that, before you answer, it's even knowing who our true self really is. Because a lot of times we don't even really know that.
Yeah. So first off, shouts out to moms. You know, glad you got to join us today and check us out. I definitely appreciate it. And I think, and again, this is just me on the cusp, just telling you the first thing that came to my mind, and the answer is yes. And the person is the person that we are when we're by ourselves. Because I think the person that we are when we're by ourselves is going to be the most. I don't want to use the word calm, but it's the most thoughtful person. Like when you're by yourself, there's more thought than there's action. So like you think about what you want to do and then you do it. And not only do you do it, you would do it in a way that's really thoughtful. Like even when I think about whenever I'm by myself, one of the things that I like to do is I like to watch TV, right? So whenever I watch TV, now again, this is telling you that I feel like I'm a thoughtful person, right? So that's the person that I am when I'm by myself. So when I get ready to watch TV, I say, okay, cool. I want to give me something to eat. I want to sit it down. I want to get comfortable. You know, this is how I do it. Or when I'm working on my job, I say, okay, I need to do research. Like I'm very thoughtful and methodical about the way that I move. And I think that if I am that way with people, I can still talk loud. I can still be aggressive. I can still be loving. I can still be, but it's just doing it in a thoughtful way. So that way I don't, again, I'm not saying be reserved. I'm saying I'm still going to talk the way that I talk, but I'm just saying that maybe the communication, I believe, or the extension of it will be more thoughtful, just like I am with myself. I like to be thoughtful for myself, so be thoughtful with everybody else. I hope that answers the question.
Yeah, it answers it. And the reason I still kind of question it is because certain people bring out certain things in me, and vice versa. Like people have told me, like, man, I'm around you, so and so, so and so. And in a similar way, though, like you bringing up all the different people, you probably wouldn't talk to your grandmother the same way you talk to your best friend. Or, but I mean, you could though. You know what I mean? And I'm thinking of like, what would that look like?
Yeah.
Would it be? Would you talk to how you talk to your grandmother to everyone, or talk to your best friend and everyone? And that's just a mild example.
And
But
I think that's about, and well, specifically with what you're saying, I think content is a big piece of that, right? Like, but the funniest part is I've seen people do it. So like, I'm not gonna go talk to my grandmama about big booties, right? I'm just not gonna do it, right?
yeah.
But I've been on social media and I saw people talk to their grandmamas about big booties and stuff, and it's the most hilarious thing. And the thing is, the grandmama or somebody, they're not offended. There's just communication, and you can see it is not as bad as you might have thought. Because but I think that's again about you being you in the way that you talk to your granny about it. Cause like I'm not gonna go to my grandma and be like, booty, 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 rocking everywhere. You know what I'm saying? Be like, hey granny, you know I like booties. You know what I'm saying? Go ahead, Jay.
I just had a thought. I think it's actually okay. It's the dynamic that's set kind of from the beginning of the relationship, right? So like
Yeah.
some grandparents may be very disciplinary. Some may allow you to just be you, and even though you get older, you still kind of play that role of the same dynamic of the relationship. Like whether it's a coworker or like with the coworker, you might be very cordial, even if you don't work with them anymore. Unless y'all are together in a fun setting, then you're like, "Oh, you're a real person. You're a real person." Okay, and but it's that dynamic that kind of sets it. So that's interesting.
So I'm gonna tell you what you just made me think about when you say the dynamic of how it was set. And I'm gonna start with family and then I'll extend out to friends or people that you just meet, right? So I think that's a part of the reason why families always have some type of resistance toward each other, because your family knows you for who you are. Because the a lot of the time the people that we're talking about are people that you grew up with, so they saw all the versions of you because you didn't learn how to hide them until you got older, or you didn't learn how to piece them apart until you got older. And so when your family sees you as this adult that's piecing yourself together, they may look at you like,
you used to pee on yourself.
Yeah, so just like right, like all of these different things, and so your family is resistant to it because it's not what they're used to. Now, again, I'm not saying that you change and do all. It's just in most scenarios that I've ever heard, it's always family is not supporting me or family is not there for me like everybody else. But the reason why is because your family is waiting for you to show up to the party, right? Now, when it comes to everybody that you meet that you didn't get to set that same stage for when you were a kid, they respect you for who you showed them when they first met you, right? And so, like, me being a real estate broker, everybody that I meet at this point is like, okay, he's a real estate broker. And then when I tell them, hey, I make music, they be like, what? You make music? When it's like a super shock. And now it's like, well, can I really trust his music? Because can he really make? I mean, I know he's good with real estate, but I don't think he can do. You don't know if he can do music for real, right? And if they hear it, it's like a big shock. But again, I never want to share that with them because I didn't think that they were going to respect it. But the thing is, I didn't respect it myself, right? And so, to your point, you are right. It's about how the stage is set in the very beginning. But that's the reason why we have to start figuring out how to be ourselves with the things that we do today, so that way people can accept us wholly. Go ahead, Jay.
Yeah, I love that, and that's what that's one thing I do moving forward, or at least try to with all new relationships, like people I meet, is just be me as soon as possible. Because that way, I mean, if you're gonna go now. If you're gonna stay, it's cool. You're seeing the real me right now, and if more people would just be like that, like there would be no lost friendships. You know what I mean? Because when people say they're changed, they didn't really change. They're just being the part of themselves maybe they always wanted to be, or another part of themselves that they wanted to be. But it's not necessarily a lie. It's just they feel more free. They feel more open now to be that.
I just love that. I mean, I think you got to hit that again, but like just saying that it's not that they changed. They're just who they've always been. They just never showed you that other side. But you got to say it again though, bro.
Yeah. But before I say it again, and there's two ways though, because sometimes we won't allow people to be who they really are. And we don't realize the role that we can play in other people being themselves too. Especially like if they might say something to us and we judge them real quick and be like, I can't believe you said that. And they're like, oh, well, I'm not gonna share this with you now. Yeah, go ahead.
But to that point though, sometimes we won't allow people to be who they are because we've already set that up for ourselves. Like, there's no way they can do that because I can't do that much. We're not saying that part, but it's like, that's not cool because that much wouldn't be cool for me. And the reality is I would really like to do that, but I know that people ain't gonna accept it from me. So it's like a big domino effect that goes down the line, and you are blocking them, but you're really blocking yourself, because the moment when you release that, then you look at, there have been things that I've changed about myself. And then I looked at the people that I judged for a long time. And then I was like, dang, I was tripping. I was tripping. Like, I was tripping, bro. You know what I mean? Go ahead.
Yeah. Well, one, I forgot the other thing that you told me to bring back to say, so I apologize. Secondly, but I think that's part of being true to yourself, revealing what's hidden, like recognizing that you were tripping. Like you said, you went back and apologized to certain people because of certain things. You were like, you know what? I was wrong in this instance, or I didn't see clearly in this instance, and I'm ready to admit that. But some, they may be, the ego might be so strong that they're allowing to be so strong that they won't even see that they were wrong or admit anything. Like, oh, that other person is still messed up or still wrong.